Thank you for joining us for this important discussion around the CARES Act, a $2.2 trillion coronavirus relief bill. The bill includes over $30 billion in supplemental fiscal year 2020 funding for the Department of Education and additional funding for certain education programs and other federal agencies, such as the Child Care and Development Block Grant and Head Start. My name is Clay Rice, and I'm the instructional designer at the National Center for Families Learning, or NCFL. Today, I'm joined by NCFL Executive Vice President Josh Kramer and NCFL Federal Funding and Policy Advisor Kuna Tavalin. Together, we will be discussing the impact of the CARES Act, how schools and family literacy program sites can take advantage of these funds, and how NCFL is here to help. I'll let Kuna and Josh introduce themselves. Kuna?
Thanks, Clay. My name is Kuna Tavalin, and I have been working for the National Center for Families Learning since 2014, working specifically with Congress to elevate family literacy and family learning. And I'm pleased to be here today with Josh Kramer, and I'll turn it over to him to introduce himself.
Thanks, Kuna and Clay. I am Josh Kramer. I have the opportunity to serve as the Executive Vice President at NCFL. I've been here for a little over 6 years now, and we're super excited to talk with you about how we might be able to leverage these funds in this moment to really make a difference for children and families.
Thanks, you all. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Obviously, there's a lot in this bill, so we're going to break it down and try to make its contents as clear as possible. Kuna is going to start us off by providing some context regarding the thinking behind the bill and break down which funding is eligible for family literacy and high-impact family engagement.
Thanks, Clay. So the CARES Act provides some immediate relief to states, districts, schools, and students in the form of a $30.75 billion funding package. This includes $13.5 billion in formula funding directly to states, which can be used for any activity authorized under a variety of federal education laws, including the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the Carl D. Perkins Act, which is Career and Technical Education, the McKinney-Vento Act, and the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which includes the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act within it. So this is the part that applies to most of the education practitioners watching. The funding can be used for a very wide range of activities, including, but not limited to, helping schools respond to coronavirus-related closures, meeting the immediate needs of students and teachers, improving the use of education technology and supporting distance learning, planning and implementing activities related to summer learning and supplemental after-school programs, including providing classroom instruction or online learning during the summer months, addressing the needs of low-income students, students with disabilities, English learners, migrant students, students experiencing homelessness as students in the foster care system, providing mental health services and supports, and finally, purchasing technology.
Thank you, Kuna. There's a lot to unpack here. Josh, can you help us understand how family literacy program sites can take advantage of these funds?
I can, Clay. As Kuna mentioned, the CARES Act pumps $13.5 billion through the Title I formula to state education agencies, or SEAs, so that they can invest in efforts proposed by local education associations to provide emergency medical funding in light of the current pandemic. So now more than ever is time to leverage a significant amount of these funds to expand family literacy and high-impact family engagement programming. Families are literally learning in the home today. It's part of our nation's infrastructure, and it's something that we need to think about moving forward, even beyond the pandemic. It's our time collectively to make the case that family engagement, family literacy are no longer add-ons to education, but part of the critical way that we do business. The literacy needs of adults and families are one of the biggest indicators of academic success and are now front and center in terms of supporting their children's education. How these stimulus funds are spent to support education in the home will depend on the vision of SEAs and LEAs, state agencies, and local education agencies to identify family engagement and high impact family literacy services as critical. As Kuna started to, or previewed for us, the Every Student Succeeds Act already allows family literacy in multiple places in the law. It requires some family engagement and encourages a lot more. In fact, family literacy is mentioned 15 times. Family engagement is alluded to and recommended as a way to spend your money or do services 55 different times. I wanted to talk about a couple of specific cases that overlap with the flexibility provided in the CARES Act. There's actually called out support for family literacy and high impact family engagement in the following areas specifically. In Title I, of course, there's the mention of family engagement in Subpart A. Family literacy is mentioned as an allowable expense for low literacy populations, and there's a specific call out for family literacy services in Subpart C, which is relative to migrant education. Title III is also highlighted in the CARES Act stimulus package. That, of course, is reserved for English learners. Title IV, or 21st century education, is called out because now, more than ever, we're going to be delivering education in the home and to some extent in the community, probably all summer long. And then finally, as Kuna also mentioned, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Act. So again, we see the stimulus package trying to move funds to the families who are most vulnerable because that's who is experiencing this pandemic in the most terrible way today. Outside of ESSA, as also Kuna mentioned, is WIOA, or the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, which includes adult education and family literacy in Title II. In other words, stimulus funds can be applied to do family literacy. It is not just about funding in this moment. It's actually about our collective vision to bring adults and children together to learn by breaking down silos between adult and child education. This happened by default with the recent coronavirus, and we can actually allocate some of these funds, work with school districts and states to figure out the things that we've worked on and how that they apply in the home. The federal definition of family literacy in ESSA and WIOA includes the 4 components: adult education, parent time, PAC time, and child education. And by the way, for us, PAC time means parent and child together time. This definition was developed collaboratively with NCFL and has been implemented across the country through our leadership and in partnership with multiple organizations over the last 30 years. We see impacts that indicate that student and adult academic achievement and attendance rates improve at statistically significant rates for families who participate in family literacy. And we know from our friends in the family engagement field and from our own research that high impact family engagement makes a big difference and holds a comparative advantage for students who are not engaged effectively in the home. The novel coronavirus has forced us to look at the fact that families are the building blocks of our nation and that they need our support now more than ever. We need to leverage the stimulus package to make a difference for children and families. In other words, now's the time for school and community-based organizations to make connections that result in family literacy and high-impact family engagement programs.
Okay, thanks very much, Josh. Of course, NCFL has worked to empower parents through education solutions all across the country for 31 years. How is NCFL helping during this time?
Well, I appreciate that, Clay. First of all, you can go to our website and find lots of free resources. The website is www.familieslearning.org. We actually have a call out for our free educational platforms for parents, adult educators, early childhood educators, and others that can be used totally for free. There are also resources on our website that can be printed off if you have access to a printer. But more than that, NCFL offers comprehensive professional development services and professional learning experiences for educators and community groups who are looking to figure out how to implement family engagement and family literacy. We also would be more than happy to work with local districts and state education agencies to think about how we can infuse family literacy and family engagement into your plans.
Wonderful. Thank you, Josh and Kuna, for sharing your thoughts with us here today. And thank you all for listening to this presentation about the CARES Act. NCFL applauds you for all that you do to empower families across the country, especially during these difficult times. Please contact us with any further questions. Look for future updates from NCFL and its partners as the situation evolves. Thank you and be well.